Lamentations chapter 1. How desolate the city now sits, once teeming with people. It has become like a widow, once a great nation's princess among the provinces, now reduced to tribute. Tears stream down her cheeks in the night. Among all her lovers, there is no comfort to be found. Her friends have betrayed her, becoming her enemies. Judah has been led into captivity, weighed down by affliction and great servitude. She dwells among foreign nations, finding no rest. Her persecutors closed in on her in narrow straits. The paths of Zion mourn, for no one comes to the solemn feasts. Her gates stand deserted, her priests sigh, her virgins are afflicted, and bitterness fills the air. Her adversaries have triumphed, her enemies prosper. The Lord has afflicted her due to her many transgressions. Her children are taken captive by the enemy. From the daughter of Zion, all her beauty has departed. Her princes are like deer searching in vain for pasture, and they have no strength to escape the pursuer. In the days of her affliction and misery, Jerusalem remembers all the pleasant things she once had in days of old when her people fell into the hands of the enemy, and no one came to her aid. Her adversaries saw her and mocked her on her Sabbaths. Jerusalem has grievously sinned, and as a result she has been removed from her honor. Those who once esteemed her now despise her, having witnessed her shame. She sighs and turns away. Her filthiness is exposed in her skirts, and she does not remember her ultimate fate. She has come down from her lofty position, and there is no comforter. O Lord, witness my affliction, for the enemy has magnified himself. The adversary has laid hands on all her precious things, for heathen invaders have entered her sanctuary, despite your command to keep them out of your congregation. All her people cry out, seeking bread, they have given up their precious possessions for sustenance. Look, O Lord, and consider, for I am brought low. Does this not move you, all you who pass by? See if there is any sorrow like my sorrow, the sorrow the Lord has afflicted me with in his fierce anger. From above, he has sent fire into my very bones, prevailing against them. He has spread a net for my feet, turning me back and leaving me desolate and faint all day. The yoke of my transgressions is bound by his hand, tightly wound around my neck, causing my strength to fail. The Lord has delivered me into the hands of those from whom I cannot rise. The Lord has trampled down all my mighty men in my midst, calling an assembly against me to crush my young men. He has treated the virgin daughter of Judah like grapes in a winepress. For these things I weep, my eyes overflow with tears because the Comforter who should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are left desolate, for the enemy has prevailed. Zion stretches out her hands, but there is no one to comfort her. The Lord has commanded that Jacob's adversaries surround him. Jerusalem is like a woman ceremonially unclean among them. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his command. Hear, I implore all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and young men have been led into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and elders died in the city while seeking sustenance for their lives. Look upon me, O Lord, for I am in distress. My heart is troubled, and my bowels churn within me. I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaves, at home it is as deadly as death. They have heard my sighs, there is no one to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble and are glad that you have done this. You will bring the day you proclaimed, and they will be like me. Let all their wickedness come before you, and deal with them as you have dealt with me because of my many transgressions. My sighs are numerous, and my heart is faint. Lamentations chapter 2. How the Lord has shrouded the daughter of Zion in his anger. He cast down from heaven to the earth the splendor of Israel, and in his fury he did not remember his footstool. The Lord has devoured all the dwellings of Jacob without pity. He has thrown down the strongholds of the daughter of Judah in his wrath, bringing them to the ground and defiling the kingdom and its princes. In his fierce anger he has cut off all the strength of Israel, withdrawing his right hand before the enemy. He burned against Jacob like a blazing fire, consuming all that was pleasing to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. The Lord became as an enemy. He swallowed up Israel and all her palaces. He demolished her fortresses and increased mourning and lamentation in the daughter of Judah. He violently removed his tabernacle like a garden, destroying the places of assembly. The Lord caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, despising the king and the priest in his anger. The Lord has rejected his altar, abhorred his sanctuary, and delivered the walls of her palaces into the hands of the enemy. They made a tumult in the house of the Lord, as on a day of solemn feast. The Lord determined to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He stretched out a measuring line and did not withdraw his hand from destroying. Therefore, the rampart and wall lament, they languish together. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and princes are among the nations. The law is no more, and her prophets find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground in silence. They have thrown dust on their heads and wrapped themselves in sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang their heads to the ground. My eyes fail with tears, my heart is troubled, my liver is poured out on the ground for the destruction of the daughter of my people. Because children and infants faint in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, "Where is the grain and wine?" As they faint like the wounded in the streets of the city, as their lives ebb away in their mother's arms. What can I compare you to, O daughter of Jerusalem? To what can I liken you, that I may comfort you, O virgin daughter of Zion? Your ruin is as vast as the sea. Who can heal you? Your prophets have seen for you false and deceptive visions. They have not exposed your iniquity to restore your fortunes, but have given you oracles that are false and misleading. All who pass by clap their hands at you, they hiss and wag their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city that was called the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All your enemies open their mouths wide against you, they hiss and gnash their teeth and say, "We have swallowed her up. This is the day we have waited for, we have lived to see it." The Lord has done what he planned. He has fulfilled his word that he ordained in the days of old. He has thrown down without pity. He has made your enemies rejoice over you and exalted their horn. Their heart cried out to the Lord. O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears stream down like a river day and night. Give yourself no rest. Let not your eyes cease. Arise, cry out in the night at the beginning of the watches. Pour out your heart like water before the presence of the Lord. Lift up your hands to him for the lives of your children, who faint for hunger at the head of every street. See, O Lord, and consider, to whom have you done this? Should women eat their offspring, the children they have held and nursed? Should priests and prophets be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? Both young and old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and young men have fallen by the sword. You have killed them in the day of your anger. You have slaughtered them and shown no pity. You summoned those who terrified me on every side as if for an appointed festival day, and on the day of the Lord's anger, no one escaped or survived. Those I held and raised, my enemy has destroyed. Lamentations chapter 3. I am the one who has witnessed affliction by the rod of his wrath. He has led me and brought me into darkness, not into light. Surely, he has turned against me. His hand is against me all day long. He has made my flesh and skin grow old. He has broken my bones. He has built against me and encircled me with gall and hardship. He has placed me in dark places like those who have long been dead. He has hemmed me in so that I cannot escape. He has made my chains heavy. Even when I cry out and shout for help, he shuts out my prayers. He has blocked my paths with hewn stone. He has made my ways crooked. He was like a bear lying in wait for me, like a lion in hiding. He turned aside my ways and tore me to pieces. He left me desolate. He bent his bow and set me up as a target for his arrows. He caused the arrows of his quiver to pierce my kidneys. I have become a laughingstock to all my people, their song all day long. He filled me with bitterness, making me drink wormwood. He broke my teeth with gravel and covered me with ashes. So my soul is deprived of peace. I have forgotten what happiness is. I thought, my strength and hope have perished from the Lord. Remembering my affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, I continually remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. But I call this to mind, and therefore I have hope. The Lord's loving kindnesses indeed never cease, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning, great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I have hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the person who seeks him. It is good that one should hope and wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone and be silent, since he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust, perhaps there is hope. Let him give his cheek to the smiter, let him be filled with reproach. For the Lord will not reject forever. For if he causes grief, then he will have compassion according to his abundant loving kindness. For he does not afflict willingly or grieve the sons of men. To crush under his feet all the prisoners of the land. To deprive a man of justice in the presence of the Most High. To defraud a man in his lawsuit, of these things the Lord does not approve. Who is there who speaks and it comes to pass unless the Lord has commanded it? Is it not from the mouth of the Most High that both good and ill proceed? Why should any living mortal, or any man, offer complaint in view of his sins? Let us examine and probe our ways, and let us return to the Lord. Let us lift up our hearts and hands toward God in heaven. We have transgressed and rebelled, you have not pardoned. You have covered yourself with anger and pursued us. You have slain, you have not spared. You have covered yourself with a cloud so that no prayer can pass through. You have made us mere offscouring and refuse in the midst of the peoples. All our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Panic and pitfall have befallen us, devastation and destruction. My eyes run down with streams of water because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. My eyes pour down unceasingly, without stopping. Until the Lord looks down and sees from heaven. My eyes bring pain to my soul because of all the daughters of my city. My enemies without cause hunted me down like a bird. They silenced my life in the pit and threw stones at me. Waters flowed over my head, I said. I am cut off! I called on your name, Lord, out of the lowest pit. You heard my plea. Do not close your ear to my cry for relief. You came near on the day I called to you, you said. Do not fear. O Lord, you have pleaded my soul's cause, you have redeemed my life. Lord, you have seen the wrong done to me, judge my case. You have seen all their vengeance, all their plots against me. You have heard their taunts, O Lord, all their plots against me. The lips of my assailants, and their whispering are against me all day long. Look at their sitting and their rising, I am the object of their mocking songs. Deal with them as you have dealt with me for all my crimes, for my groans are many, and my heart is faint. Lamentations chapter 4. How the gold has lost its luster. How the finest gold has changed. The sacred stones are scattered at the head of every street. The precious children of Zion, worth their weight in fine gold, how they are regarded as clay jars, the work of a potter's hands. Even jackals offer their breasts to nurse their young, but my people have become heartless like ostriches in the desert. The infant's tongue clings to the roof of its mouth from thirst. Little children beg for bread, but no one gives them even a morsel. Those who once ate delicacies are destitute in the streets. Those who were raised in purple now lie on ash heaps. The punishment of the daughter of my people is greater than that of Sodom, which was overthrown in an instant without a hand turned to help her. Her princes were purer than snow, whiter than milk. Their bodies were more ruddy than rubies, their appearance like sapphires. Now they appear blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin has shriveled on their bones. It has become as dry as a stick. Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of famine, those who waste away, stricken for lack of food. With their own hands compassionate women have cooked their own children, who became their food when my people were destroyed. The Lord has vented his wrath, he has poured out his fierce anger. He has kindled a fire in Zion, and it has consumed her foundations. The kings of the earth and all the inhabitants of the world would not have believed that the enemy and the adversary could enter Jerusalem's gates. But it happened because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, who shed the blood of the righteous in her midst. They wandered blindly through the streets, defiled by this blood, and no one dared to touch their garments. "Go away!" people shouted at them. "Unclean! Unclean! Don't touch!" So they fled and wandered, but among the nations it was said, "They can stay here no longer." The Lord himself has scattered them, he no longer watches over them. The priests are shown no honor, and the elders find no favor. Yet our eyes failed, watching in vain for help. In our watching we watched for a nation that could not rescue us. Enemies hunted our steps, so we couldn't walk in our streets. Our end drew near, our time ran out. Our end had come. Those who chased us were swifter than eagles in the sky. They relentlessly pursued us over the mountains, ambushed us in the wilderness. The Lord's chosen one, the very life breath in our nostrils, was caught in their traps. We had said about him, "We will live under his protection among the nations." Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, you who dwell in the land of Uz. Yet the cup will pass to you as well. You will get drunk and expose yourself. Your punishment is completed, O daughter of Zion. He will not prolong your exile. But he will punish your iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will expose your sins. Lamentations chapter 5. Lord, please remember what has happened to us. Take note and see our disgrace. Our land has been given to strangers. Our homes belong to foreigners. We have become orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are like widows. We must buy our water to drink, and even our own wood comes at a price. We are oppressed and have no rest. We submit to the Egyptians and the Assyrians for bread. Our ancestors sinned and are no more, and we bear the burden of their iniquities. Slaves rule over us, and there is no one to deliver us from their grasp. We risk our lives to get our bread because of the sword in the wilderness. Our skin is scorched like an oven because of the severe famine. In Zion, women are ravished, and in the cities of Judah, young girls are violated. Princes are hung up by their hands, and elders are not shown respect. Young men are put to work grinding, and children stumble under heavy loads of wood. The elders have stopped gathering at the city gate, and the young men no longer play their music. The joy has left our hearts, our dances have turned into mourning. The crown has fallen from our heads. Woe to us, for we have sinned! Our hearts are faint, our eyes are dim because of these troubles. Mount Zion lies desolate, foxes roam upon it. But you, O Lord, reign forever, your throne endures from generation to generation. Why do you forget us forever and forsake us for so long? Turn us back to you, O Lord, and we will return, renew our days as of old. But you have completely rejected us, you are exceedingly angry with us.